Ashe! Ashe and Grand Rising once again to you all, my very beautiful people, my highly enriched melanin people. Yes, you, the Earth's original and organic humans, aka my fellow Africans. It is I, the Mystic Philosopher, and yes, it's very evident that I'm still here with you on this side of reality. And welcome back to the Mystic P is talking again under 15 minutes with I, the Mystic Philosopher. And this is episode 61. Now, the main topic of this series of talks is, as you know, stress on the mind, or more correctly, the impact that this thing called stress has on the thing that we humans call mind. And that from I, the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, the solution to this problem or to this disease called stress can, or it may be found in and by understanding, understanding and overstanding the want equation. Namely, want is equal to money, which is equal to stress, which is equal to unhappiness. And also by putting into practice the knowledge that can be gained from this profound equation. And the quote that I am using and have been using to make and illustrate my points thus far is from the 23rd Psalm that is found in the Adamic Race History and Holy Book. And I quote the verse 1, I quote, "The Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want." Or, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," unquote. Now, in some of my previous episodes, I ask that you please meditate on the want equation. I ask that you please do so. Want is equal to money, which is equal to stress, which is equal to unhappiness, right? And then you can see what you can gain from it, what you may learn or derive from it for yourself. All that I'm saying to you is coming from the want equation, right? In other words, evaluate it for yourself and see if it makes any sense to you, right? And if it makes sense to you personally, use what you gain from it. If not, just dismiss it, forget it. But you know, it's worth your while looking into it. Now, in my last episode, was episode 60, I asked that you please tune in to this episode, which is episode 61, in which I will be answering the following and very important, one very thought-provoking question, and one that I've been frequently asked. And the question goes like this, and I quote, why would people be praying and asking for things if they did not want or need them? And if there is not a want and a need for them, unquote. Now, my answer to this question is this. As mentioned in one of my earlier episodes, that from I, the Mystic Philosopher's perspective, it is because from our birth, if not from our conception in our mother's womb, we have been deceived by the system and taught that our mission here on this planet and in this life, in this thing called life, is to be successful as opposed to be joyful. And as a consequence, we have been deceived into functioning from the paradigm of success, which is the paradigm of want. One of the first questions that we were asked as a child is, what do you want? And one of the first things that we were taught as a child or as infant or as children is to want. So here you can also see how want is equal to success, or how want is associated and intricately linked with success. As infants and as children, we were rewarded for wanting things, and our expression for our wants was in our cries and in our crying. As infants and as children, we learned that the more we cried and the louder we cried is the more we were rewarded, and so we cried more and more, and we cried louder and louder, and we got more and more, and we got more and more of what we wanted, meaning we got success. And regrettably, we continue to do the same thing as we became adolescents and adults. Even today, we're doing the same thing, and we continue and are continuing to teach our children to do the same as well. Think about it, if you will. Today, almost everyone is crying out for something, crying out for peace. They're crying out for justice, crying out for equal rights, crying out for human rights. They're crying out for civil rights. They're crying out, you name it. And people are crying out loud and louder for it. and are never getting it or getting enough of it. As the child or as the infant cries, the first question the parent asks is, what do you want? What do you want? And from then, the child or we are programmed to want. The paradigm of success is the paradigm of want. And success equal want is like the grave that cannot be filled. It just keep wanting and wanting more and more and more into infinity. I told you that success is a journey and that it is not a destination, and as such one can not be successful. No one can be successful. I explained all of that in previous episodes. Secondly, from birth, if not from conception and to the date of most of us expiration, or to the date of our death, we were never taught or even given the time to think, let alone be encouraged to figure out and know the difference between want versus abundance, begging versus asking, success versus happiness, need versus presence, lack versus have. You name it. Most of us don't even believe, let alone know, understand, and understand that there is a difference. Most of us never thought about these things. Please let me just focus just for a moment on what I, the Mystic Philosopher, perceive to be the difference between to beg and to ask. To be begging and to be asking. From my perspective, to beg is to function from the paradigm of want. If or when you beg, you are functioning from a mindset of ignorance, a mindset of doubt, a mindset of fear, a mindset of poverty, a mindset of lack, a mindset of subjugation, a mindset of submission, a mindset of inferiority, a mindset of not knowing that that which you are begging is really there. You don't know that. Or that the person that you are begging is going to give you, or that you truly deserve to receive that which you are begging. And that is one of the main reasons why a beggar is prone to be abused. A beggar is prone to be abused both mentally, physically, and otherwise. That is why begging is demeaning. That is why begging is humiliating. All sorts of liberty can and will be taken of you when you beg and when you are a beggar. Remember that the commandment, remember the command and the instruction, I shall not want, we shall not want, and nor should we or you or nor should we be found wanting. And especially if you know, not especially if you believe, but especially if you know that you have a shepherd, whatever your shepherd is. I explained who and what a shepherd is are supposed to be in previous episode. For your information, my beloved melanin people, my African people, the righteous, meaning those of us that are thinking right and rightly, those of us that are thinking knowingly, thinking consciously, thinking intelligently, and above all, thinking wisely. Do not beg anyone, not even God, for anything, not even for so-called forgiveness. For example, in the Adamic Race History and Holy Book, aka the Christian Holy Bible, we read where the same psalmist called David that is alleged to have wrote the 23rd Psalm, which states, as I quote before, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He also wrote, and I quote, I have been young and now I'm old, yet I have not seen, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread, unquote, Psalm 37 verse 25. Righteous people don't beg. And that was from the King James Version. Just like how I, the Mystic Philosopher, don't beg. The Mystic Philosopher, in due time or in the appropriate time, will ask. I am not afraid nor am I ashamed to ask. The righteous don't beg. And it is quite unfortunate that some people, because of their own gross ignorance, coupled with a dose of cockiness, success, and pride, and also have a beggar mentality themselves, believe that if or when you ask them for something, it is you are begging them. For example, when I, the Mystic Philosopher, ask for something, whatever that something might be, it is not out of knowing that the thing is not there. It is out of knowing that the thing is already there. And that the person that I am asking, not begging, can, or at the very least, has the ability to furnish my request. I would not sensibly ask a man or a woman without hands to conveniently and effectively fetch me a cup of tea or a glass of water, or to change the tires on my car, unless I know for the fact that he has connection or the influence to order or to instruct someone else to do it. I would not sensibly ask a person that I know of a fact that he or she is dead broke and bankrupt, he or she is starving and with no access to $1 to furnish me $10. I wouldn't do that. That is begging, and the righteous don't beg. No, I do such stupid things. And that is why the character in the said Adamic race history and holy book called Jesus Christ, aka Yahushua, taught his disciples, or we are told he taught his disciples, to ask and not to beg. And I quote, ask and it shall be given to you, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be open to you. And Matthew 7 verse 7, the New International Version. Ask, not beg, and you will receive. Why? Because you know that the person that you are asking either have it to give or have access to the source from which to get it to pass it on to you, etc. See, continue, it says, seek and you shall find. Again, because you know that you're not operating from a state of ignorance. You know that whatever you are looking for is there. Knock and it shall be open. Open again, because you know that you're not coming from ignorance again. But again, you know where you are knocking and that there is a door there and that door there that can and that will be open for you to go through or to go in or for something to come out of. You don't act like some fools that I know that are knocking at some wall, some blank wall, and expect that because of their faith, it is going to open for them. Or some fools that is calling upon the wrong God, other people's God, and expect to receive what they are requesting. Notice also what Jesus, aka Yeshua, is alleged to have said, and I quote, for everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be open. That may be open, but will be open. Again, somebody come up with the answer, will versus want, but we'll talk about that another time. Thanks, my sister, for following and for listening, and for deciphering things for yourself. For everyone who asks, not beg now, for everyone who asks, and not in faith, but in knowledge, will receive. But more than that, I'm not preaching here, I'm just using this as an example, right? Now, the big question is this. When you ask the right person, what if you ask the right person or the right people for something and they don't give it to you? How are you, or how am I supposed to feel? Now, unquote. You're supposed to feel damn good. Number one, you did not allow your stupid pride to prevent you from asking and thereby allow you to suffer in silence. A lot of people do that because of this stupid pride. Number two, if they have it to give, and if they can't give and refuse, if they have it to give and can give, and if they refuse to do so, then simply don't worry, just leave them to the source. No big thing. If you get something to deliver and you don't deliver it, or you can't deliver it, and no worry about that. Move on. In fact, from my interpretation from reading this passage of scripture, the same question was asked, at least rhetorically, and I quote, which of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you, then though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven, or your shepherd, give good gifts to those who ask, not beg. Stop beg God for something. Nah, give. If you know and really know, anyway, let's not get there. Ask your source. Let's find your source and ask. Ask Him. So, in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets and God. So hopefully from this my talk today, this morning with you, my beloved people, now you know the difference between, or at the very least, you have gotten some another perspective and some more insights, some new insights on want versus abundance, and begging versus asking, success versus happiness, need versus presence, and lack versus have. If I had time, oh man, it's gone way over time. So thus far in today's episode, I honestly think that I have given you, or at the very least, I honestly think that I may have given some of you, if not all of you, a lot more to think about, and possibly a lot more to look forward to in my next episode, especially as it relates to stress, the seed called want, and the want equation. And it's so in the interest of time, I think that I should just pause here for today and ask that you please join me when next I'm talking again, possibly in episode 62, where I will continue to be talking and sharing more of my perspectives and insight on the magical, mystical, and metaphysical aspect of the word want, and the command and commandment you shall not want, and hopefully continue answering the question, and give you some examples as to how to get rid of want, or how to at least deal with this thing called want, and by extension stress. For my people, you shall not want. I shall not want, you shall not want, we shall not want, and nor should we, you and I, be found wanting. In the meantime and between time, please let me again remind you, my people, that yesterday's history, it too is dead and gone. No more to come back. Tomorrow is a mystery, it too may never come. But today is a gift, which is why we call it the present day. And so I hereby implore you, I'm imploring you to live for today. And by live, I mean claim your natural birthright. And just in case you don't know what that is, or you may have forgotten what it is, as I said it over and over again, it is your happiness and full joy today. And let's hope for tomorrow. Only hope for tomorrow. It never come, really. Right? It may never come for you and I. Again, I thank you for listening. Thanks for your time. I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, 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 Ayase.